I love that was still in tune from last night, see?
Basically, yeah. You're ready for next year's gig. Mind if I leave my rig here? No accordion player jokes, please.
Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show, Viewers, Comments and Questions Live. Dan here.
Mick here.
Andy here.
Hello.
Hello.
Beyond excited to be sat here with one of our closest friends and one of the best guitar players you will ever hear.
Yeah.
The glorious Mr. Andy Timmons.
Thank you, Dan.
We have just finished 3 gigs with Andy.
Massive tour.
Massive.
At this point, that was a massive tour. 3 in a row. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man.
Yeah, tomorrow night's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So massive thank you to anyone that was at the gigs. We had so much fun.
Did have a good time.
Man, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing, bud? We good? We on? You happening?
So.
You happy?
I think so. There was a screen I didn't recognise.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's not do that.
This is the standard thing. Welcome. Hello.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. Happy days. We're a bit tired, truth be told.
Yeah.
You know.
We're having a conversation about being tired after doing stuff, right? And the difference about being tired after doing something that you absolutely love. You know?
Yeah.
It's a good tired. You know, I woke up this morning, you know, so we've done some miles and we've done lots of hours and stuff. And I woke up this morning going, yeah, I'm feeling it, but I'm still buzzing from everything. It's still a really good.
Oh, man. A splendid time was had by all.
Indeed.
Right? I think so. And just, you know, obviously we've known each other for a long time, but getting a chance to play together on the stage, and me selfishly getting to hear some of the tones that Dan and Mick get, you know, was really special. You know, I mean, we all listen to the show, but it's another thing to be standing in the room with. And both of you guys have such incredible tones and of course the techniques you guys play, you know, but boy, it was humbling, man. It's like, all right, I get my rig to no, I'm being dead serious. I'm being, you know how it is. It's like, yeah, you get to a place with your sound like, oh, it's going pretty good.
As you can tell, Andy's a big fan of Monty Python. And he's just pulling out the gags.
Spam. Lovely spam.
No.
I've got to make a running repair, Dan.
What you got going on?
So I just need you to hold the audience for a second.
Because I do that so well.
Wrapped.
I just, you know.
Yeah.
So let's see. We're going to
Andy's
roll
mic
call.
is off just for a second.
Okay.
Will you excuse me, please?
Oh, yeah,
Mr.
please.
Timmons?
Go.
We've got the mic stand is actually broken mid-show.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Can you believe that?
I can believe that.
Why? You know, how long has that mic stand not been broken?
Let's see what's changed here, folks. Let's see whose fault could this be.
Welcome.
You invited me.
Oh, I don't believe this.
How is it my fault already?
I actually don't believe that.
We just put it up a bit higher and we'll fix it in post.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually it
Will it
actually
not function like that? Or
it
is
actually
a matter of proximity.
broken during. No, it's pretty good actually.
Okay.
Let's try that again.
There we go.
So for those of you who haven't already turned off, yeah, man.
There we go. Okay, so roll call. Let's see who we got on. Michael McSee, Daniel Sir, Mick Thiemann, Cup of Noodles, BV Ninja. Hey mate, so massive thank you to BV who looks after us and moderates for us.
Thank you, BV.
Absolute superstar. We're not doing super chats tonight because we have a restaurant booked. We're gonna, you know, we've got to be out on time, and every week we say we're going to try and get out of here on time, and we just can't do it.
Really?
So there's going to come a point where we say, "Bless you all."
Yeah, but more. It's not just about that. It's about wanting to, you know, be in the chat for a change. Let's try that for once.
Indeed. Lovely. Lots of love coming in. Lovely. Where we got Gordon Rankin. Hey mate.
Hello, Gordon.
Let's see. G Budge. Hey mate. Tony in London.
Luke Rake is on. Luke says, gents, me and my mate Russ came to Froome last week. Just wanted to thank you for a great evening. As we'd expected, great tone, top work from the TPS band, and awesome to see Andy in such an intimate. And I think there were more words there originally.
Well, thank you, man.
For those of you who don't know, Andy's come over and we did 3 shows together.
Yeah.
And it was an education.
Man alive. Deeply humbling education.
Yeah, it was, and good fun.
For all.
Most important thing, it was good fun.
It was so much fun.
Wasn't it?
To hear these guys, come and play, and they had an incredible set of tunes. You guys picked some really ambitious cover tunes. Peg, Owner of a Lonely Heart. Really, it's like, playing some amazing stuff, but then the singing, everybody was singing their butts off. Both of you guys have great voices. It's insane.
Thank you.
Unfair to mortal.
No, that was the people come up
Truly.
after the gig and says, "Yeah, that sounded really hard." Yeah.
Sorry. That's not necessarily the best compliment, right? That must be difficult.
Yeah.
Was it sound? Yeah.
Well,
But those tunes are challenging, man.
yeah,
For sure.
But
man.
we didn't want to. I guess it's for me personally. It's been so long since I've played, and I thought, we got Andy for 3 gigs. What can we do? How can we make this into something that's going to be really fun for everyone? Let's do some stuff we've always wanted to do and never done.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to do Owner of a Lonely Heart, the harmonized guitar solo.
And he nailed the
s-
solo.
It was just so much fun.
It was a blast. When he went behind the nut to get that G,
nut
the
bend.
G up to the A.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it was
Killing.
great fun.
Because I don't think Trevor did it on a telly.
No, it was on a Strat.
That's what I mean. Yeah. But did he do the behind the nut?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
shit, okay.
On a Strat.
He did it on the Strat.
I had no
behind the
I just
band.
pictured him on some kind of modern,
Yeah, no, because it
Floydish guitar.
sounds completely different, right? Doing
Yeah.
that same, because you do
Fair enough.
on you. There's what's that tune that you do, and you do it behind the nut
I do a
band.
bit on Winterland.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Various things along the way.
'Cause it's got
it's
got
just
a vibe.
the harmonic thing that happens.
Yeah.
Especially if you got other
And
strings.
strings going, right?
That's what's happening with
Yeah,
that. It gets
yeah.
just this beautiful rub that you couldn't do any other way. Right?
Yeah. So, and it, we knew, because Mick and I have both seen Andy play a number of times, and it's always inspiring and humbling. And trying not to be what's the word I'm looking for?
Sycophantic.
Sycophantic. But it's we've mentioned, like regular viewers will know, we say all the time, if you've never seen Andy Timmons live, you have to go and do it, because it's such a. We had people at the gigs who would come along, with a partner and are there to, for whatever reason, and they see Andy play and go, never seen anything like it.
Out of tune, mainly.
We'll get the sycophancy out of the way.
Sycophanticness.
Yeah, the sycophantilization out of the
There you
way. And say, I definitely exchanged a glance with quite a few people last night that sort of went like this.
Yeah, not how does he do it, but why does he do it?
No.
It's really.
I think we know why. It was the how, which
very
is the...
sweet.
Yeah.
Very sweet, and I take that with the love intended. But back at you guys, man, both of you guys, just killer tones, great vibe, and
That's the thing. If you're ever going to step up, if there was ever a gig where we had to step up, it was like, this is it.
Yeah.
But isn't that the best position to be in?
Yeah.
To be in either on the stage or in the room with people that have great ears, and you guys have such a wonderful. More sycophancy here. Oh no, really, it's an incredible group of people that follow you, and me included, that just love the passion you guys have and the knowledge you have, but you also have the ability to get on the stage and do it. And
Right.
there's a huge difference. So kudos, what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Get
That's
you
very kind.
gigging, professional, very top level stuff. So, but that's always, for me, I know I always, it's the best position I could be. My last record, where's the horn? Where's the horn? Where's the horn? Please, I've been, we all live to do this. So when I was doing my record with Josh Smith producing, all right, thank you. So I'd never done a record produced by another guitar player. It's usually, it might be Mike Dane, the bassist in my group who produced the last couple records with me, or Rob Wexler. He's an amazing violinist, but never another great guitar player. Right. So I'm in, and Josh really isn't playing on the record. He's just there to kind of produce and facilitate. But what a wonderful guy to have either on the other side of the glass or sitting next to you as you're doing fuck, this guy's got his stuff together. It's a wonderful pressure, to
It elevates you,
It
right?
does. It elevates, as opposed to, as so many of us have the technology to record at home and do things on our own. That can be great, and we do stuff that way. But man, to have another human being that you have the highest level of respect for, which in my case is Mike Dane and Rob Wicks, the guys in my band. But again, Josh, who's this player of the highest level of awesomeness. So the fact that he invited me to his place, I'll come over. Let's do this.
Yeah. It's a beautiful album.
It's a beautiful record.
That wasn't meant to self-promote.
No.
It was just.
I think we should do some promotion. Actually, there was a question. Mike 2203. Hello, Mike. It was really nice to see you on Saturday and Sunday nights. It was really great to see you.
Came back. Still talking to us.
Mike does want to know where to buy your records, and we had a discussion about that earlier.
We did, yeah. At this point, so it's all been. I only have U.S. distribution at this point. So pretty much it's going to andytimmons.com, but I know that the shipping costs have been kind of prohibitive for some people. But I did get introduced to a guy at a place called Burning Shed, and so there's a potential for me to get some at least UK, if not European distribution.
Sure.
Cool. And so we'll see, or stop by right now and we'll hook you up. Got a few copies left.
Tim Lurch is in the chat. Hey, Tim.
Tim Lurch, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Major fan. He's
amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah. I had a lesson with him a month ago.
Did it work?
It's like, my head is still
did it take? Yeah, no, Tim's...
Still trying to punch the information in.
No, he's so great. Well, tone.
Yeah, beautiful.
Knows a thing or two.
Tommy Freeman is on. He said, I'm spending my lunch break with you guys in Maiden, North Carolina.
Well, what's for lunch?
Yeah.
Barbecue.
Scott Coombs is on. Greetings from Minnesota. Scott is an awesome voiceover artist.
Oh, nice.
And he sent us some stuff once.
Is he going to do
Nick
something?
and Dan have left the building. we should dig those out.
We need that guy.
Nice to hear from you, Scott.
Sunday.
Nick Harrington is on. Good morning from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada. My Halo is arriving this week. I can't wait.
Hey, I hope you enjoy that, man.
Well, Nick, tomorrow we are filming a video with Andy. And he's going to show us the Halo.
I will. Yeah. I'll do it.
At patent pending volume.
Yeah.
Going to do it properly,
through a dual lone
Starr
rig.
All right.
So you'll hear it as it should be heard.
As nature intended, as
and we're quite excited about that. So
having spent 3 gigs with Andy with the Halo, far out, man. It's the most effective...
effect?
It's the most effective effect.
How literal?
That's me. So it's that thing where it sounds like reverb.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful delay that doesn't get in the way. And what you and Robert Keeley and
Aaron Pearson, Aaron Tackett,
what you guys have come up with is extraordinary.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It was.
I texted you the day that it arrived.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my goodness, this thing is outrageous.
It was such a selfish project for me because I've just been, we've talked a lot about echoes and delays and tape and analog and all this stuff. So there's this kind of, like we do with our guitar tones or our playing, we have this kind of thing in our head that we develop, influenced by all the stuff we love. So this is really kind of a product of, along the way of what I've loved about the tape and the memory men. Have we decided, by the way?
Memory me, my. It's Latin.
So the multiple men's of memory. Anyway, so but I was very selfishly just wanting, because I'd used in the Timeline's a phenomenal unit, and I used it to good effect for many years. But it did all these things I didn't need, so I just really wanted the one box. But and it was through Dan's introduction. I'm like, well, who should I go to if I really want to find somebody to help me get exactly what I'm going for? And you, without flinching, said Robert Keeley.
Yep.
And walked right over. It was at an AM show of whatever it was.
Yeah.
In the before times, because this has been in the works for a while. And so we just instantly struck up this friendship and. That was the thing with Robert, because once we got on it, it was about a year and a half of full-on working on it. But, fortunately for me, the Keeley guys are in Oklahoma City, and I'm in North Texas and McKinney, north of Dallas, and so it was only like a few hours drive.
Right.
So that was the key to this. It wasn't like, send me a unit, well, it kind of needs more air. We were in a room every time that we worked on it, and so at least half a dozen times each way. And that was the key, but we had such a great time.
Yeah.
Once we got together, and I just got on so well with Aaron Pierce as well.
Yeah.
And just the kind of a kindred spirit thing. So they had the the vibe of like, we're not going to settle unless we really improve upon what I've already had and
Sure.
get it. So anyway, long story short, thank you for recognizing.
Well, I think so. We spent quite a bit of time with Robert as well, and actually, we were in Germany with him. We're doing was it Tom Ann University, and he was there.
Yeah.
And what was fascinating was, I know that all these, all the guys they play guitars at some level. Rob was so enthusiastic about playing and about being around players and learning and stuff.
Yeah, he gets inspired, man.
Oh man, and it was like,
Yeah.
and you can see the passion that goes into the stuff that he's doing,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, no doubt.
And it's like, really lovely. And I just knew that you guys would connect.
Yeah.
And he's, man, the capability they've got is
Yeah.
wonderful. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's
Anyway.
really great. So we're going to record that tomorrow, and I'm going to try and sneak in a few other pertinent questions
Okay,
about some
great.
things that I've discovered over the. One thing that I discovered today,
Right.
that has blown my mind. Right, I snuck in a quick guitar lesson with Andy this morning.
Yeah, like you do.
Like you do.
And he
That's
taught me.
right.
He taught me many things.
And it's like, and he's like, well, so where am I staying? I'm like, you're going to stay with me. And you're going to have in the morning, here's your coffee, here's your guitar. How do you do this? But one thing that I found that was fascinating was going with some jazz stuff and some chord stuff this morning. And Andy's swinging. And then Andy's playing melody. And Andy's melodies swing. They all have this amazing swing to them. And it's like this light bulb went off.
Right.
The
Because
secret's out, man.
even- it's like-
I'm a swinger.
As straight as the rhythm might be behind Andy, all those melodies are swinging. And it's like, that's where this amazing, this, I don't know, it's a human thing, but it's certainly a part of that thing that really affects me.
Yeah.
When
that's, I mean, that's all I hear in that music.
Right.
Because as you know, I can't play on the beat of anything.
Yeah,
So
right.
everything is swung for me.
I can't play on the beat. I can only play in front of it
front of
really quick.
You win.
Paddy's in the chat. Hello, Paddy.
Hey, Paddy.
Paddy played bass. Paddy, we must.
Oh,
give a
shit, Paddy.
Shout out to Doug and Paddy who played bass and drums, and Jack Duxby who played keys. They had one afternoon rehearsal with Andy, and
Oh, they killed it, man. They
I
did a
hope you
great
don't
job.
mind if I say Andy's music is not uncomplex, and to learn.
It's just detail. It's dynamic.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily. It's not that complicated unless you are worried about dynamics. Then yes, it is.
Yeah, sections and breaks
Yeah,
and all that
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of stuff, and they nailed it. Well, from where out front, I thought they nailed it.
They did a great job. Absolutely on stage for me as well.
Nice one, Paddy. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Andy
man.
Wood. Andy Wood is in the chat.
Oh,
Hey,
Andy.
Dub. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? Good. Nice that you're here.
Yeah,
It's wonderful. I first met Andy. There was an evening at NAMM, and I think it was you and Paul Gilbert and Andy. And there's a bunch of players there, and I hadn't seen Andy play before.
Yeah.
And man alive,
Oh,
it just
another
blew
another
my
humbler,
mind.
another humbler. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
had many great hangs, man. The first time was in North Carolina at a friend's guitar workshop, and he, I just was learning about Andy. I was like, man, this guy's killing. Oh yeah, and he's gonna go sit in and play mandolin tonight with the bluegrass band and just kill it there. Yeah, we've had a couple of good hangs at his camp and at NAMM, and inspiring, man.
What was the thing he said? You're right.
Of course, I haven't recorded the podcast.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go. Well, hello.
It exists somewhere.
Somebody's got to remind
Someone's
me.
got. Yeah.
Okay, welcome to our podcast, listeners. I'm
Indeed.
sorry. Yet again, I
What
forgot
we
to
just
press
said
record.
was in doubly.
Yeah. Anyway, you join us as it's about to get interesting.
Yeah.
Is it?
Jamie Brown wants to know: did we get to see Macca at the Cheese and Grain?
Oh man! So what a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
So we had just gotten to Froome, right?
Yeah.
And they had told me, yeah, there's this place called Cheese and Grain, and we were going to book a gig there, but somebody usually does a warm-up set for Glastonbury there. The Foo Fighters had done it many times, but we thought, well, the Foo Fighters probably aren't going to play. God bless Taylor. But it wasn't available, so we're at their sister place, the Vintage Vine, old Vine Yard.
Wine.
The Treehouse.
The Treehouse.
The Old Vine.
There you go. The tree house at the Old Vine.
Pub on Froome.
Yeah.
And so, literally, Dan and Mick were on stage. We're getting set up, and I'd either gotten a text or somebody just mentioned, "Oh, by the way, it's McCartney." They just put tickets on sale for so they're gonna play. He's playing the next day, which we have off basically. We kind of had off. What was we had the experience thing. So just knowing that he's like down the street, it was one of those. But happily, I'd just seen Paul a couple times in the States.
Right.
So I was, at least, it would have been the universe I would have been mad at had they done that. Like, you missed Paul, and then he's like down the street and you can't go. Anyway, but I did see him, and it was fantastic. He just turned 80, which is just incredible to think about. But the fact that he's still out there doing it and sounding great. And his band, Brian Ray, Rusty, and Abe Jr. and Wicks, the band's been, I think Glastonbury was their 500th show.
Right.
Which is astounding considering they're not on the road all the time. But But they're the perfect band with Paul and Rusty. Oh, look at that!
I bought that because of Rusty.
He
did a signature one for a
he
minute.
did.
That isn't one, but
it looks very similar to the one you see him play.
His guitar
he was
so
playing
much.
a telly a lot on the gig. Man, the guitar break they do, that thing that I've never been able to figure out what it is at the end of Got to Get You Into My Life. But go down. It couldn't have been more perfect. Oh my God. And Brian Ray one night they were doing Letting Go, which I think is off Venus and Mars, and Brian Ray played all the lead guitar bits, and the tone was it was killing. It was so good.
For those of you who don't know, Andy is, shall we say, a fan of most things Lennon, McCartney, Harrison, and Starr shaped.
Guilty.
And
they get beat down by me. They're like, "Oh, did you know?"
The depth of knowledge is truly staggering. Truly staggering. Like alternative endings and mono and stereo versions having different.
Yeah, we just had the What Goes On chat.
Yeah.
For those that know. Yeah, and I'm guessing there's nobody out there.
David Tompkins, thank you for your question. I hope Andy covered that in the intro bit. We won't subject ourselves to that again. He says, "What do you like about Dan and Nick's playing?" But you've been very kind already.
No. I'm happy to go on about it if you want.
No. That's been voluntarily covered. Tom Quayle's in the audience.
Tom, I'm going to see Tom next week.
I'm going to see Tom next week, which is great. Also, Sean Tubbs is with us as well. Heavens!
Wow.
There we go. See,
well, we've been outplayed now, haven't we?
Yeah. That'd be.
We should be watching your show.
That'd be quite the evening at NAMM, wouldn't it? Cup of Noodles says love from Santa Barbara, California. We've got KJ Photon from the Big Apple. Paul Matulovic from Pennsylvania.
Excellent.
Nice to hear from you, Paul, as always. David Broche or Broach or Broch. Or Broche says, David, he says, I'm going to the Guitar Sanctuary in Dallas on the 14th of July to see the Aristocrats. First time I've seen Guthrie live. That's your local store, right?
I'm 10 minutes from there. That's my dear friend George Fuller that owns the place, and Brian Meter and Shane Frame and all the guys that are there. It's a great. It started off as just my literally my best friend opening a guitar shop, and it's a really nice kind of boutique stuff. The good gear, right? So that's already great. But now they've got over the last 6, 7, 8 years, they've had a little 300-seat venue that attaches to the store, and it's Brian Meter's done an incredible job of bringing in really amazing guitar-centric acts that you wouldn't normally get to see that may not come play through Dallas. He's had Eric Gales multiple times, Adrian Legg, Phil Keggy, but yeah, and Aristocrats have been there before. Mike Keneally's played there. So this is selfishly for me, it's my hometown, so I get to kind of have whenever I need the room for a gig, come on in, So enjoy the Guitar Sanctuary. And get there early enough to hang and check out the shop. I'll be there for one of those shows for sure.
Brian's a good egg.
He's a good egg.
He's a good egg.
Hard-boiled.
Yeah.
Daniel Sir says, Andy, you're one of my favourites.
Oh,
nice.
Well, thank you, Daniel Sir. Any relation?
Mark, well, it's TSUR, so I guess that's Sir, like Tsar.
We'll just say. Okay.
Anyway, Mark Dixon's music. He says, hello from the Isle of Man. Hello, Mark. I come from the Isle of Man, if you didn't know that.
Wow.
I saw a few videos of the gig, and you were all on fire. Well
Man.
Done. Nice. Yeah, BV facilitated some stuff on the Facebook group, the TPS Facebook group. I can't bring myself to watch it, but the reason we didn't film it is because one's headspace when trying to sing and play the guitar is one thing, and trying to think about production and filming and all of that is quite another.
Too much.
And given the sort of on the edge of the seat nature of the sets, we thought filming might be a bit of red light fever too much. So we thought, no, let's just leave it what it is in the room.
Good for you for having that recognition of going, let's enjoy this. Let's not stress too much about it.
Man.
That's a major thing. So.
It's got to be all brain.
And that's when the gig goes amazing. You go, why didn't we film this?
But we did say to people, look, if you want to film it and put it on social media, it's totally cool. So go ahead. So there's bits and bobs.
Yep. What's and all.
Up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plenty of warts.
All and warts. Right. Sorry, we'll try and catch up with some of this. Let's see. David Rustad is on. Marcus Reeves is on. It was nice to see you, Marcus, on Saturday night. Hey, says Ghanaian Bluesman TV. Glenn S. was at Whitney on Saturday. I was in the audience, and it was a very special evening. Thanks for coming, Glenn.
It was very special. It was very special. Like I said before, you have done a couple of gigs, but it was literally my first gig since before lockdown. And just to be reminded of what it's like to do music with people.
That's a huge thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of the folks that know me will know that I did a bunch of live stream gigs from my home studio, right? And it's a really bizarre thing where you're performing, and even though it's just with track and I'm headphones, you're giving everything you're gonna give, no matter what the situation. And you stop, and it's just dead silence, and so I have a screen over here where I'm looking at the comments. There's a chat board.
Oh, there's applause.
All caps applause. But and I learned how to kind of navigate that and somehow get used to it to a degree.
Sure.
But you really miss, and I found myself while I'm playing music, watching the comments, because what I realized I was doing, I'm used to looking out to see the expression of the people,
right.
Just to kind of gauge, we're doing okay, you having a good time,
yeah.
and I just and just that human connection that you have with the band members. You'll notice I'm watching the band the whole time. I want that connection, but then I want it with the audience. So to feel that again, now that we're out and doing some shows, there's nothing like it.
No.
There's just you'll never replicate that energy any other way.
Yeah.
So to be out back doing it is
And
phenomenal.
I caught a number of your stage shows, and they were. What was really interesting was there was a sense that because it was live, it was so different than just watching a video of you on YouTube. It definitely had a different vibe. There's that live element to it. It was like, well, that was fantastic.
I think that was the attraction for the people coming. They recognized that.
And that was a big thing. Your shows, for me, in over lockdown were a really big deal. It was thank you for doing that. And but also, now that we're out of that, I think there's elements of that that have been introduced to us, right? So we're going to keep we can have the best of both worlds, because
for sure.
It's not everyone's going to be able to come and see you, at all your gigs.
And that was the beauty of it, because literally anybody from anywhere could log in, but still get a fresh live. And I didn't make any of the performances available post. I wanted people to. You're at the show, you're not. I mean, maybe later on we'll make some of that available, but it just felt like we should keep this special for right now.
Yeah.
Not?
I love that.
You know what I mean? So so at least there was that sense of immediacy, and I could actually respond in real time, as you guys do here, which is so great.
Yep.
Pedalman has a question, Andy, about the Halo.
Yep.
He wants to know, when he uses the freeze effect,
Okay.
he says the volume ramps up when engaged. Is that because it's self-oscillating?
Yeah, that's because it's self-oscillating. Yeah, okay. Exactly.
So you can't keep the volume.
You might experiment. This is an Aaron Pierce question, because I didn't have much to do with that particular feature. That was just. It was I spent the whole time really hyper focused on this one particular sound, but because it's Robert Keeley and Aaron Pierce, but we can do other things,
stuff.
And so that's I did have direction in the different multi taps, etc. But that was kind of Aaron's baby. He really loves that, and I thought I would never use it, but I was wrong. I finally did an arrangement of Penny Lane, which was kind of it was like the left off thing. I should have done it for the Pepper record that I did, because I'd done Strawberry Fields.
If you haven't heard Andy Timmons play Sergeant Pepper, it is
It's unbelievable.
Insert superlatives here. Correct me if I am wrong, Andy.
Right.
You did it essentially from memory.
Yes, save for the middle section of Within You Without You, yeah.
And
everything else, I just kind of had to, I tried to arrange it because there's no overdubs. I wanted the guitar to replicate everything in a linear fashion of how I hear it in my head. Yeah.
Okay, so with those two facts in mind, largely, in fact, very largely from memory and no overdubs, go and listen to that record.
It's
But so the one track that I thought Penny I Can't, I'm never going to be able to. Yeah. But I, at some point over the last year, say, come on, man, let's work on this. You did Bohemian Rhapsody, maybe you can get to. But so at the very end, it's like, I don't even know how they did it, but it sounds like cymbals, like maybe backwards, but then there's like a high pitch. It sounds like feedback, but maybe it's a flute. It's one of those miraculous sounds that you really don't know what it is, but it's so instantly recognizable as part of that tune. How am I going to do that? Well, that infinite hold was part. That's all I had to do was hold that last chord. And there it is. Yeah. Anyway, so the infinite hold. I wish I could help you on a more intellectual level, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of oscillating delay is that it can.
It's going to collect.
You could. So one of the things that Andy does very effectively is he has the effect level linked to an expression pedal.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can up and down the level of the effect itself. You could try that and maybe just ease it off. I mean, it might mean that it decays away a bit more quickly, but it could be a way to think about that.
Yeah.
Albus Band.
Aaron.
Hey, Aaron, mate. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. He says, a question for the three of you. If Mick couldn't go on a Strat, Dan no Tele, and Andy no signature guitar, what would be the one guitar you would use?
Oh, well.
I would use a different Tele. No, I would probably go. What would I do?
Junior.
My junior, probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for answering.
No, because I was. The one thing with the junior though, my junior doesn't clean up the way yours does. It's got a different clean up on it. I mean, it's depending on what's on. But man,
that's that's sort of a bit like saying my Ferrari doesn't quite get as many bags of shopping in as your SUV does. That's basically what he's saying there.
Yeah, but it is the most extraordinary
Not to be too
guitar.
disparaging about my Collings, but the 61 SG is quite a different thing. Les Paul, sorry, should I say?
Wow.
Andy, if you did...
Well, I mean, my signature guitar is modern Strat thing, so I would have to be a Strat.
Yeah,
but I'd be okay on a Tele too. But the Strat's kind of home base for me at this point.
Andy used one of Mick's Strats and read in a couple of songs, and it was, oh man, it was just so good.
It was slightly humbling to hear your guitar.
Are you kidding me? You on the Strat, Mick? It's just incredible.
For me,
these guys are absolutely crazy.
I've just completely fallen in love with that gold top Les Paul.
Yeah, I got to say that was one of the best tones of all the stuff each night. Was when you were on that Les Paul on at the end of Rosanna. It would just really, it just got that bark to it.
It just seemed to work.
It really sounded nice, man.
Yeah, so I think it would be the Leicester, which for regular TPS viewers might be a surprising statement. But
wow, okay.
Isn't it? I mean, it's great, isn't it, when you stumble on something that you hadn't previously enjoyed very much,
right? And
then you're like, wow, epiphany time.
I did have a recent thing with a Les Paul too, because I kind of grew up playing Les Paul style guitars. My first kind of decent guitars was an Electra Les Paul, maple neck bolt-on, cream colored. It turns out made at the same Fujigen factory that the Ibanez Lawsuit guitars were made.
Okay.
So of that era of late 70s, mid to late 70s. That got stolen when I was in high school, and then the band I was in miraculously had an insurance policy, so got to go get a brand new Les Paul Standard. But then in the early 80s, when you needed a Strat for all the cover stuff, Madonna, Nile Rodgers, I got a Squier Strat, and then I was really a Strat guy from that point forward.
Yeah.
But when I go back to Les Paul, sometimes I get on with it okay, but I was doing a blues gig in Dallas a few months ago, and somebody brought out a guitar. Hey, please play my guitar. I'm like, I got enough to deal with here. But finally got onto it at the second set, and I didn't put it down. It just sounded perfect through the way I had my rig set up. So
And what was it?
It was a '58 reissue, but custom shop.
Okay.
I think it was fairly recent, but just had a thing to it. So
wow.
Man, so maybe might see me with a Les Paul too.
I always think in a rock context anyway, the customs tend to sit better with the maple neck and the as they were in the mid-70s. Because the Customs also had no maple top, the original Customs.
Oh, really?
It was just mahogany.
Oh, we don't.
Now, that may have changed because
I
then
don't
they
know
went
anything
to
about that.
You mean the mini Bucker Custom?
No, like a straight Les Paul Custom. Like the
Randy
Rhodes guitar.
Yeah, got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever played one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I think Zach Wilde's have maple necks.
What's the cream 70s Les Paul? Is that a custom as well?
Yeah, it's a custom if it's got binding around a headstock.
Okay. I
Are
love
there 3
those
pickups?
guitars.
Is it always?
Yeah.
Is it 3 pickup or is?
No, 2 or 3.
Custom 3 pickup.
Custom
Yeah.
3 pickup.
Wow,
2 or
that's-
3. Steve Jones.
Right.
Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Ace Frehley probably.
Yeah, he played a custom at one point. Started on
yeah.
the standard, but there was a custom later on, the real cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big Ace Frehley.
Yeah. Oh man, that's how I learned how to play guitar. Essentially, I mean, obviously the foundation was the '60s that my brothers were buying, all the British Invasion. But yeah, Kiss Alive. That's how I loved. Needle on the record, and off I went. And Ace was the perfect guy to learn from because it was all the classic British blues guys wrapped
Right.
into one guy and memorable parts. They were just really, really work for the tune and great. That really wide vibrato thing, it's a great guy to learn. Had I heard Yngwie first, I probably wouldn't have played. It's like, I can't do that. There's no way. Ace was perfect.
Bjorn Lodvar Larsen says he can see you in Ringo's band, Andy.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
You've spent some time with Ringo, haven't you?
I have. I've gotten to meet him a few times. I'm a Beatles stalker.
Yeah.
It's not easy meeting a Beatle, that's for sure. Even when you people in the band or in the crew, but nobody wants to bug the boss, and it's like,
sure.
and you totally get that. All my years with Olivia, it's like, yeah, you're trying to protect them from having to deal with more stuff, But yeah, and Lukather's obviously my biggest. Steve Lukather's my biggest influence, but also we've become friends over the years. So now that he's in Ringo's band, that's helped. Having a couple opportunities to be able to hang for a minute or two, and I'm just so thankful to have that,
Speaking of Lukather, there's something that dawned on me while I was watching you playing last night and the night before.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you did this consciously or not. So in our set, we do "Life in the Fast Lane" by the Eagles.
No, I did.
And I heard you playing a solo to that.
I don't remember what song it was on, but because that one particular band, it's an unusual interval. That's not a classic blues lick.
Yeah, right.
And I recognized and went, that needs to be in.
I heard
something.
you do that, and then I reckon you played the outro solo from Rosanna, or most of it.
I played I hinted at it.
You definitely did.
Well, that's one of my
amazing.
favorite moments of guitar ever. It's just one of my.
We're on the 3rd night. I've got it wrong 3 nights in a
No,
row.
he did a wonderful. He did his own version of it, but you nailed that middle solo.
Yeah, the middle solo. That's
You had it down, and every night it got rapturous applause.
But yeah, and then I was like, oh, he's playing it. He's playing it in his set.
But that why? Again, I've stolen more from Luke than anybody.
Tom Bukovac is with us.
Hey,
Tom, how you doing?
Uncle Larry, thank you for joining us.
Oh, there's some guitar heavyweights.
I was going to say we need to be watching their show. Man.
Mike, I was hoping this was going to come up when Andy was talking about the cymbals and the reverse and the difficult bit in Penny Lane.
Yeah.
I thought it might be like a weird sample of the Hard Day's Night chord. Mike 2203 wants to know what is really the opening chord of Hard Day's Night.
Okay, there's a great video you got to check out. Type in Randy Bachman "Hard Day's Night" opening chord into YouTube. Yeah. So apparently Randy Bachman had a night out with Giles Martin.
Right.
Martin had his laptop with him and say, I got everything, every track, every multi-track, all the tapes have been. What do you want to hear?
No.
And Randy Bachman goes, the first chord of Hard Day's Night. So I guess they were able to, however, because it was only 4-track, I'm sure, they were able to isolate, what the piano and then, the various chords. So George, and he explains it, but George is playing the F triad with a G on top, but then also G and C with the thumb. So it's a full 6-string voicing. John's playing, I think, an open D, and then Paul's playing the D, and then what the piano's playing. But then they break it down on stage, and then they all play it together, and it's chill bumps. And I've done it at home in track up. So, but anyway, I might be misremembering one of those voicings, but check it out, Randy Bachman. God bless him, because you've seen there were articles in Guitar Player.
Yeah.
I played for Randy one night.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh man,
So I
I'm
was
a
working
huge
with
fan.
I was working with a songwriter who'd just done an album with Randy Bachman. Right?
Wow.
And there was a songwriting convention or something that was happening, and she asked me to come and play some tunes, and then Randy was going to get up and do some songs at the end. I'm like, okay, great. So 2 amazing things.
Right.
There was this. The manager said, "I'm bringing Randy's amp. Don't worry. You know, we got to sort it out." And so the other guitar player and myself, the amp turned up, and it was an old PV Deuce, right?
This is what Randy's going to play through?
Yep.
Wow.
And so we sat there for an hour trying to get a sound out of this thing.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
And it was horrific, right? And Randy turns up and we're like, "Look, mate, we're so sorry, but we've been trying really hard to get this amp sorted out." Randy's like, "Don't worry about it. Not a problem." He gets up, plugs into it, taking care of business. It was the sound. And
0 pedals? Just
not straight in, bang.
No
and
freaking way.
looking at the other guitar player, and we were sort of in shock. We couldn't quite believe it.
That he was getting that out of that Deuce.
Anyway, backstage, before we go on,
Yeah.
Randy says, "Oh, can you tune?" He hands me this Gretsch. So, can you tune this guitar for me?
Did
I
he
said,
play
"Yeah."
the Gretsch?
Hands me this white Gretsch,
Yeah.
and I'm tuning up because I said, "This guitar's amazing." He goes, "Yeah, it was a present from John Lennon." And I'm going,
When did he hang? When Lennon was in Toronto for the Bed piece. I wonder when they that Toronto rock and roll revival concert with Clapton.
right.
You know,
This is
Taking Care of Business track is just one of the greatest guitar tracks ever. That it's just
It was amazing.
I marvel at his note choice and the tone, but to be on stage and have him do it with a Gretsch through a Deuce.
Through a
It's
Deuce.
astounding.
And it was like, it was right there. It was just phenomenal. Yeah. There's a photo somewhere because, backstage and someone took a photo and my head just poking up the back going, because
He's the guy I haven't met, but I'm a fanboy. I would love to.
I
meet
did
that
a
guy,
gig
man.
with Randy Bachman by mistake. Basically is how that went. It was
Brush
amazing.
with greatness, man. Those savoring
He
those
remembers
moments.
it fondly as well, Dan, I think.
That's awesome.
Nicholas Walker says, "I went to boarding school in Somerset in the 80s. Mick, why didn't you play in Taunton in your early days?" I played in Taunton at least twice a month from about 1987 to 89. So I did.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. More importantly, there was a question here. Yes, it was from Justin Kendall. Justin wants to know, what are the pedals used on the intro to Electric Gypsy?
There was no pedals.
Right.
The original recording. This isn't one of those things where I was planning on playing it through. I had just gotten. I recorded the year that I got that prototype AT100. That's the guitar that I brought with me on this tour, that original one. And I'd gone to a place called what was the name of the shop? Brook Mays Music, and the guy that worked the guitar department was Steve Mueller.
Okay.
Pre Mesa Boogie, just pre when he started with Mesa
Wow.
Boogie.
Steve Mueller is a guy that is a good friend of Andy's and who I knew pretty well a few years back, who ended up pretty high up at Mesa Boogie. Didn't
Yeah,
he?
absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the main cogs
Yeah.
in that company.
And he was the driving force behind the Lone Star, from what I could see.
Well, yeah, I think so. And the stiletto, the stage 2 stiletto that I collaborated on with him.
Yeah.
But he was my conduit to that company, and how I was using the Mavericks for a while. They're kind of EL84 amp back in the mid 90s maybe. But obviously when the Lone Star came along, that really I found my amp with that company. But so I went by because I had a bit of a rattle in the cabinet, and he was going to help tweak it up. So I was going to the studio that night to record Electric Gypsy and another song called Turn Away. And I come in the shop, and he's playing through his own amp, and it was a VHT Pitbull. And I heard the tone he had. Said, "Can I borrow your amp?" So I jettisoned the idea of doing they had the PV Classic 410. Those are cool sounding out. But I heard what he was doing, so that's literally the clean channel with no pedals in front of it. And I think I just switched to a lead, maybe the mid gain or lead channel for when it gets a bit heavier. But that's the guitar
Pitbull.
straight in combo. Yeah.
No way.
That's it. Yeah.
No.
When I do it now, when I do the song live, it's gotten gainier over time. You know.
Right.
I think because I'm not getting that straight, clean sound the way I need to get it from the way I'm using the Lone Star. So I have to kind of sparkle it up a bit. And I usually do that with a bit of gain, either with the RC or the blues driver with the volume down thing.
Yeah.
So
There we go, Justin. Hope that was as revelatory for you as it was for me.
Uncle Larry has a question before he says he's got to go, and it's to do some stuff, but he wants to ask us what we think is the most overrated pedal of all time.
overrated pedal.
Yeah. See, I would say it doesn't work like that. Because for what, like, you could say the Klon is the most overrated pedal of all time. Then you could also say the Klon is the most underrated pedal of all time. Because we've had situations where we've tried to get that sound that, so Mick's got, original Klon.
Yeah.
There's nothing that does what that does.
Wow.
So I had the same experience with Paul Davids doing his board, and he's like, I've tried everything. And the Klon clones are amazing.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, and you can argue to the nth degree, but it's
Ibanez TS10 Tube Screamer.
okay.
He
Right,
said
there you
it.
go.
He said it right out loud.
I'm decided no fences for me today. Just both feet. Yeah. I don't get it.
No. It's like trying to say which of my children I
Yeah,
love.
they all have a special thing, don't they?
Yeah, no, I just say it all depends, because in the hands of one person.
Well, ask Tom then. What's his?
Yeah.
He must have it.
What's the one?
An opine.
What would your answer be,
Yeah.
Tom? What do you think? That's good shout. See, I would have, before I started hanging out with Mick, I would have said Tube Screamer.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was.
I never got it. Because I
Yeah.
never got it, and then when I hear Mick playing through it, it's like, my goodness!
Yeah, it really needs the right amp,
Yeah, the hollowness of the Strat, and it just fills all of that in.
yeah,
And it's it's like, awesome.
Yeah.
Tom says Klon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Low hanging.
I think that is the answer that a good proportion of the
They would have said.
universe would give.
I would think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric Jason Brock. I didn't think I could love Andy anymore, and then I hear he's an Ace fan.
Oh, but there you go. All right. See, that can go either way with a lot of people. Yeah, he never got the muso respect, but I kind of liken him to being the Slash of his era.
Right.
Because Slash also, didn't necessarily get like the real muso respect, but everything that he played, you couldn't do it any other way. You hear the song, and that has to be. They were memorable solos, really well constructed.
When did he leave
What do you mean?
Kiss?
Well, that would have been late 70s. Both he and I think Peter might have gone first, then Ace.
Right.
But they, Gene and Paul kept their nose clean, so to speak, and had the eye on the ball. And Ace and Peter were kind of falling prey to substance, etc.
Okay.
And so it was just a shame that they couldn't have kept it together like that. And even in the reunion days when they put the makeup back on, that was emotional for me to go see them because that was my childhood.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but Ace was such an influential guy. You just would have hoped that he could have kept things together a bit more. But he's out doing great now. Apparently, he's been sober for many years now. So very happy that he's doing better.
Was he on Torpedo Girl?
See, there's a certain part of I got to a certain point after Alive 2. That's where I stopped.
Okay.
So Torpedo Girl, I think Brian Meter's going to kill me for this because he's the ultimate Kiss fan, my guitar sanctuary brother. So he's watching him, and he brings up Torpedo Girl every now and then. But I think that's Ace. That sounds like Ace. Yeah, Brian's mentioned it. It must be Ace because he's such an Ace fan. So
Right.
I'll say yes to that.
Because I had to learn that song for a band I was in a long time ago, and it's like, and that was the first time I got into Kiss. Hearing that, I was like, this is raw.
Yeah, that's a
as you
later
like.
one though.
What is the deep and meaningful narrative in Torpedo Girl? What's
Well, it's a political
Talk
song.
about mud flaps.
It's a,
Flesh tuxedo, I think, is the rhyme we're looking for.
Pete Hawthorne, Andy. Pete Hawthorne.
Hey, Pete Hawthorne.
Wants to know. He's a huge fan of yours, and he wants to know:
Thank you.
do you still have your old RT models from the Ear Ecstasy days?
Okay, so if he's referencing, there was a catalog shoot that I did where I'm in Strawberry Fields in New York, and it's the Imagine Mosaic there in the park. I don't think I ever owned that guitar, but I think people thought that was a signature type guitar. I do have an RT 12-string. It's actually a pretty dang good guitar.
Is it in tune?
Right now, yeah. Missing the high
was a
G
bit
kept
off.
breaking.
I had to
Mick's
stop-
got a nice Ibanez 12-string.
I had to stop a tune last night because the 12-string was so badly out of tune.
If you don't have a tech sitting there handing it to you right as he's just tuned it. Nope.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like last
That's
night.
why, yeah. No, it was the G that had gone way south, right?
Yeah.
There was no recovery.
No.
And it's not like you're playing a 6-string when you recognize, oh yeah, well, tweak. No, it's like which one?
There's 12. Yeah. Anyway, so you have
So I never
12,
had.
but-
Well, I do have it. I take that back. There was a custom shop version that the guy that did my guitar was Mace Bailey. I think my guitar might have been one of the last Ibanez custom shops.
Was he in Kiss as well?
He was
Mace Bailey and Ace Frehley.
Mace Bailey and Ace Frehley.
Very
That's pretty
nice.
good. You put that together
Very
nice.
good.
The
I'm
wit
impressed.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
why I
Mick.
don't get paid any bucks at all.
So I guess the answer is yes, but it wasn't that the main 6-string wasn't a factory one. So that was a long answer to a simple question.
Apparently, yes, and Ace sang it as well.
Torpedo Girl. There you go. All right.
Interesting.
I like the Ace solo record was really
Oh, it was great.
quite
Yeah,
good
yeah,
with
yeah.
Pete, one interesting thing I found out about Andy over the weekend was that original Squire you said that you bought, you still have.
I have an 83 Squire that I bought. Yeah, right. I think they had just come out, and that's when I was in Miami in a cover band, so you really needed a Strat. It's still one of my favorite necks of any guitar I've ever owned.
Wow.
It's just, as we were talking about bending, we just had, even it was a 7 1/4, but I just, it was such an instinctual thing that I developed on it. You could just tell, you could feel that when it was in tune.
Having a conversation with Andy in the car because we did that show about Are You in Tune, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, Andy will bend melodies around the neck, and everything is so just flipping bang on. And it's like
Sometimes.
it's one of those things that's years and years and years, right? Getting all that right. It's a
think
really beautiful thing.
Also, would you say it has also something to do with familiarity with the instrument?
Oh, hugely. Now, you mean the particular instrument you're on?
Yeah, because
yes,
it was
you have to have that relationship.
when Andy turned up. He's got a gig bag and he's got his signature guitar there, the one with the broken piece of pickguard there. I was like, oh wow, you actually do travel with that guitar all the time.
Yeah.
And we'd be sitting there having a cup of coffee on a cafe or whatever. He's like, is my guitar around? And he'd just sit there playing. Can't stop playing the guitar, but always that guitar.
Yeah, but I do practice on other instruments when I'm home. There's a more recent version. There's like an AZ. It's called the ATZ 100. So there's a Japanese and an Indonesian version of the same guitar, and they're amazing. And I'm practicing more on those, and because they sound great. There's the newest one has the traditional Fender bridge on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's another level of tone difference, and
Wow.
I'm freaking loving it.
Yeah, wow.
Because when that prototype was built, my original one, it had the Trev Wilkinson, which is now a Godot, kind of beefed up version, which I liked because I'm trying to get more of the humbucker. It was a humbucker in there. I wanted the bolder tone, and the original Fender, tailpiece can be a bit tingy.
Yeah.
Sure.
But what that does to the clean tones and that sparkly thing, it's pretty amazing. So really, really happy with the new version of that guitar. I'm really digging playing it.
Elias Blum wants to know, Andy.
Yeah.
Thinking about Strawberry Fields, did you ever try any of the Melotron stuff? So he's talking about the Electro Harmonix Mel 9, for example.
I have not. I would like to try that out. But I'm such a fan of there's the Melotron thing. There's the original article. It's just one of the most haunting. Court of the Crimson King.
Oh yeah, come on.
It's just that's the chorus of. I had a tune called "Theme from a Perfect World," and I was kind of trying to get into that. It was Rundgren meets Court of the Crimson King. Just that kind of repetitive, but the sound, the sound, those tapes the sounds it would produce, it's just so eerie.
I'm assuming you've seen Paul McCartney's demonstration
yeah.
of
when he's playing.
and then he goes, "Watch this," and the tapes all rewind. It's amazing.
So anyway, but I haven't tried that, and that might too. For that record, it would have been a bit too literal. I wasn't trying to imitate specific sounds, only just in my voice, so to speak.
Yeah, right.
But I would like to check that out, just to check it out.
Because it's not about trying to, as you said, it's not about trying to create those sounds like they were, right? It's your interpretation and making them work with your, with the arrangement, and because when I wasn't trying to remember the first time I saw you, and what was amazing was you're playing. It's like chord solos. You're playing chords and melody and everything. And it's all at once, but you're doing it in a. It was in a context I hadn't seen anyone do before. It was like, it was with the band and it was just rocking but you incorporate so many different parts of the arrangement of the tunes in what you do. It's remarkable.
Oh, thank you.
Remember we first filmed with Andy? Yeah. And I'm sorry we tell all the time, but if you haven't seen it, I think it's actually on the old channel. Andy was our first ever guest on TPS. And
pretty good.
Those are the Borderline, wasn't it?
This is the Borderline.
It was ATB in London,
Yep.
What year was that? 15?
It must have been 15.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
And we're setting up, and Mick says, "Oh, Andy, I've heard you do a version of She's Leaving Home," and Andy's like, "Oh, I haven't played that for years."
It
couldn't have been years. The record had been out 4 years at that point.
Not I've heard you do a version. I love your version.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
There is a difference.
Mick says, I love your version of She's Leaving Home, and Andy says, I haven't played that in years. Let me see if I can remember it. And Andy starts playing, and then at the end of it, I'm going to Mick, I'm not crying, you're crying. I'm not crying, you're crying. It was just extraordinary, but that's a really wonderful example of the way that you do incorporate the melody into the chords, and it was really extraordinary.
So much of that would have been, the Joe Pass, Barney Kessel, Wes thing, but just thinning out the harmony so it translates to sometimes gritty or slightly broken up, But it's just a fun thing to experiment with, and it's really there's no rocket science. It's just there's a melody and there's harmony. How can I connect the two and just find the best way to voice it? And plenty of echo, and there you go.
The experience day on Friday, we had an experience day on Friday because, we weren't busy enough doing the gigs. We thought we'd do an experience day as well, which was fantastic, by the way.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Just a really lovely day. And Andy popped in to say hello to everyone was here and did a quick rig.
I delivered lunch, is the truth.
Yeah. Bring the
Andy
burgers.
Dordashian.
But just while he was giving a quick demo of the Halo and some other stuff, you played Smile. The Charlie Chaplin composition that was made famous later on with lyrics. But man, it's just
thank you, man. I'm actually in the process of working on a whole record of that. Just the solo guitar piece, clean guitar, And so I've written a bunch of stuff, but there's, I do a lot of covers too. So that's one that's definitely going to be some Chopin pieces I'm working on. So there's potential for. I just that's become my happy place. Is just.
What was great about Friday as well, so if you don't know, we have these experience days where we get 6 people in, they hang out with us for the day, we take them to the studio on some sounds, and we go through their rigs, and and we're having lunch, and Andy Timmons is with us, and then Simon Jarrett pops in, and we're like, this is what we do every day, we have.
If you get a chance to do it,
we felt quite important for a minute.
I really felt like I needed to pay, because just hanging out, just hearing these guys discuss and going through the stuff. And I wish I would have been in here with Mick, because he was having people really come in, and some of them playing loud for the first time in their life, and hearing some of the tones and stuff coming from the room. Just pretty magical.
It's a
wonderful, wonderful day. Yeah, we love it.
It's a good day. Lots of people saying someone needs to design an automatic tuning 12-string. I think Gibson had a go at that.
Didn't Jimmy Page have some
6 strings.
Crazy guitar?
Yeah, and Gibson did the robo-tuners, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Surely Evertune could sort that out.
Yeah. Actually, Evertune is a really
I do have a guitar with an Evertune
shout.
on it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing what that thing does.
Really good shout, Dan.
Yeah. I was due.
That's a really good shout. Vibas Patil, hello Vibas. He says, I've heard that Andy uses gauge 13 strings on an Ibanez Talman.
Oh, that's true.
How does he manage to switch seamlessly between 10s on his signature and 13s on the T
I don't know about seamlessly, but there's an unreleased record I have that's all surf influenced. I call it Beach Blanket Ringo. This is anyways. Frankie Avalon, Annette fans will know what I'm talking about. But for that kind of Dick Dale kind of tone, even though some of it was a bit more saturated rock, that's just a thing. In the Talman with I put the single coils in instead of the lipsticks. But yeah, I need to release that. I'll get around to it one of these days.
Tim Lurcher says, as a guy who loves harmony, I love how Andy incorporates beautiful harmony into his playing.
Oh man, Tim, that's
And so say all of us.
Yeah,
let's tap into America. No, Tim, so say us. And just the fact that he even knows my name is nice.
Michael Van Gelder wants to know.
Hey, I know that name.
Do you have a particular preferred microphone for recording guitar cabs?
Cheapest mic wins for me. It's the 57. It's the SM57. I occasionally I'll sneak a ribbon in every now and then. There's one that Josh Smith was using on me that I like. I think it's called Mesosonic. Kind of ribbon mic, Reuter 121-ish maybe, but he had done shootouts and I thought that Josh digs it. All right,
right. Yeah,
but a 57. Sometimes like Mike Dane was like, it's three knuckles back, just off the cone. But you can do, so I'm just used to the sound of my cab, which is the Rectifier 212 with vintage 30s, just off the cone. Mic placement. You can spend some time with that to really get it dialed in, but. It's just what I'm used to, and I like it. I've done shootouts where people will put, Simon Phillips came to the house at one point. But, you could. But this goes back, anyway, we were working on some tunes that maybe we were going to get a singer to work on or whatever. But he's like, put some mics up, and you just tell me which one you like. I always chose the 57.
Wow.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a classic for good reason, isn't it?
Yeah, it tends to get used.
Yeah. Right, Michael Manchisi.
My St. Louis brother. Hello, Michael.
He wants to know, what's the best 3-minute pop song that isn't the Beatles? He says his vote goes to Go All the Way by the Raspberries.
That's a great song. There's a handful of Raspberry songs. Ecstasy, I Want to Be With You, Tonight. They're the perfect combination of, it's like Badfinger and the Raspberries, post-Beatles, early 70s, kind of carrying on that melodic pop tradition, but beefed up with Who and Beach Boys.
Wow.
Well, at least the Raspberries. But Badfinger carried on. It was like McCartney and some other stuff thrown in that are great. But yeah, I go with the Raspberry stuff. That's pretty incredible. What do you mean? What I could say Mandy, but I'll get hate mail for that, won't I?
Was it?
No.
I reckon
Barry
it's
Manilow.
over 3 minutes.
Is it over 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Go down to 3 minutes.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like
Even
it's
Ticket to Ride was 3 minutes and 3 seconds. So okay, it's under 3 minutes. Well, I'll just. Great question, Michael. Tough one. Wow. What would you say? Anything come to mind?
If John Peel was here, he would say Teenage Kicks by the Undertones, which he held up as the greatest pop song ever written.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go with It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Is that under 3 minutes?
Yeah, the arrangement's bonkers. It's like get all that out of the way, finish, fade.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Get it on the radio.
How about okay. God Only Knows is well trodden. It's just what are you going to do better than that? You're not. You are not. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
Go learn the harmony of that one. Go learn check out God Only Knows and figure out the chords and the inversions. You will learn a lot, and you will realize why Brian Wilson is revered as highly as he is. There's just nobody that came close to him, really.
Yeah, actually,
sorry about that.
That's a good.
It's
shout.
really, really emotional. Even as far back as In My Room and Surfer Girl, man, there's just so much depth there, and it comes from the pain, that he had in his life. It's a pretty unhappy childhood in some ways with an abusive parent. And anyway, but boy, you can really connect with what he was getting across emotionally.
I've got to go with There She Goes by the Lars.
That's a great song. That's a freaking awesome song. All right.
It's about heroin
Hands up
too,
for that.
which is quite interesting.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good.
Which
shout,
version
actually.
is your favorite? Well, the Laws is great, but was it Sixpence None the Richer? That's a great version.
It is a great version.
That's a great version.
And that's the version they used on the film So I Married an Axe Murderer. Right?
That's right.
And I remember because I had heard that because I was a massive fan of that film.
And you were
right?
trying, okay.
And that's the version I learnt.
And then
I went to the gig and the guys were like, no. And I'm like, Yeah.
Nice. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Dobster, who we met at last night's gig. Who was there? Nice that you were there, Dobster, and you're in the chat tonight. I saw it on the thing earlier, but it's gone away. So apologies for not reading your comment out. But it's great to see you and great to meet you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, thanks for making the trip. You know, it was great. Thanks to everyone that turned up to the gigs.
Some people came a long way to.
They
to
really
hang,
did.
yeah.
We had
Yeah.
people fly in and stuff. It was like, wow, that was wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
we
was
had some
amazing.
people from Middlesbrough, from Liverpool,
From Edinburgh.
Yeah,
A couple of guys from Holland.
yeah, bonkers.
Amazing.
Belgium, somebody
Yeah.
from Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
All the way from Belgique.
Belgique.
Yep. Right. This is dead air.
Whenever there's Mick has to go off and do something technical,
Yeah.
and he's looking at me going, Dan, this is dead air. And then there's that stare that comes and I'm going, okay, come on, Dan, you can do this, power through. By the time I thought of something to say, he's been on the chair talking for 2 minutes, and I've popped back into the room.
I do admire the flow you guys have. It's pretty incredible. It's a heavy flow down.
What's that? Flight of the Conchords is doing. I'm the hip hoppopotamus. He goes, I am the hip hoppopotamus. My lyrics are bottomless. And stops.
That's a great rhyme. You don't need much more than those two lines. Though. You pretty much got your point.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's almost up there with the Kilimanjaro lyric in Africa, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing. Oh, it's like
Meet you all the way. Is that what's going on in Rosanna?
Yeah.
Instead of meeting halfway.
Yeah.
I want you so bad, I'll meet you all the way.
Exactly.
Is that what that means?
Pretty
Yeah.
I never really
I
thought
sang
about it.
"Need
so-
You" all the way quite a few times.
Oh, is it
last night.
"Need You" or
No,
is it "Meet
is
You"?
"Meet You"?
It is "Meet You", okay.
Yeah.
it's a bit.
Could
It's a
mean
bit
something entirely
It's a bit
different.
needy.
It's
a
a
bit
bit,
needy.
yeah.
And apparently that song is about Rosanna Arquette.
It
that
is
correct?
about Rosanna Arquette. Yeah, that's right.
My wife and I, we didn't meet Rosanna, but we saw Rosanna Arquette on our honeymoon in New York. And we were going into a club in Greenwich Village, and she was coming out, and I was like, that's Rosanna Arquette.
There you go.
Wow.
You didn't
How
say it.
cool.
You just let it go by.
Yeah, she's like, aren't you? And I'm like, no, thank you. No.
Yeah, you're the guy off that pedal show.
In the future.
Get out of it.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Stop sending me texts.
These guys are very famous everywhere we go. You're getting stopped in men's rooms around the. No, that was me and Froome. Could you play?
Andy, yeah. Hey, yeah. Can I make a request?
Just
Like,
don't-
not right now.
Not a good time to be
Just give
shaking
me a minute.
hands. So we don't.
There's quite a lot of love coming in for the Danger days here.
All
Andy,
right. Well, how
from,
about that?
From
Some
Richard
people are
Poole.
older than I thought.
Someone asked if you would ever do any tuition based on those songs.
Well, that's a good question.
That's
I did Puppet Show.
Yeah.
But I had a solo piece called Puppet Show.
If I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Spinal Tap. then
That
Puppet
became a
Show.
thing. It was just a shtick in Danger. If anybody in the band was getting more attention in an interview or from females, Puppet Show.
That's what we should have done outside the gig. Puppet Show. TPS.
Well, the answer is I should. I'll have to get clearance from Steve and Bruno, the writers, but I bet they would be all right with it.
Gary
That was-
O'Neill says, beat the bullet.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That was from Vi Sachatrucci, by the way. Vi
Sachatrucci.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. No, Beat the Bullet was one of my favorite ones from back in the day. That was a nice.
Matt Brown says, I used to work for Andy's brother John at his record store.
Hey, Your Ecstasy in Louisville, Kentucky. Really, truly one of the greatest record stores ever on the planet. And I know that because I went to most of them. No, my brother John, it was this pretty iconic record store that it finally closed maybe 5 years or so ago. But yeah, it was a great store. And they had lots of live music along the way. Jack Black, Tenacious D played there. The Foo Fighters played there. Wow. So this was a place, this was a destination. Anyway, shout out to Your Ecstasy. Thank you, man.
Leo Ubios agrees with God Only Knows.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I think Paul McCartney might have something to say about it as well.
Okay.
That's how I found out about it. Basically, really got more into the Beach Boys was Paul's, which I was, of course, aware of them, but Paul really kept talking about Pet Sounds. And
What was the album for you, Beach Boys?
Well, Pet Sounds eventually, but then the Smile thing is another story.
Right.
because that's just such a level of genius. I can't even begin. We'd need multiple shows, and I'll save it for another time. But Paul was it was in the early '90s. Paul really was finally coming out and say, yeah, it was Pet Sounds was really the one. And at that time I went and bought the CD, and I just didn't get it. It wasn't guitars and drums.
Yeah,
it's like. But when I was on tour with Simon Phillips in Europe when Carl Wilson passed away, and I got into the hotel, and it was at the end. You turned on the only English channel would have been CNN at the time. And I saw that it was Carl Wilson who sang "God Only Knows" on the news. I went, this isn't good. The only reason he would be on here, and sure enough, he'd passed away. But it kind of sent me on this path of seeking out. And I'd gotten this collection called Essential Harmony. It was a Beach Boys collection, but they'd done a mix out of "Wouldn't It Be Nice" without the instrumentation. And it was vocals only. And I'm driving down the road and I'm in tears. I couldn't believe, because some of the detail would get kind of lost. Some of the mixes on Pet Sounds are a bit muddy. But man, it's like all of a sudden it's like, I get it. It's just another level of emotion that's not, it may not all be guitars and drums, but it's deep. Anyway, so I really went down the path and then sought out every recording of every outtake of every possible thing. And have just deep love for Brian and that body of work,
Excellent.
Astonishing. Airfire, Ed, hello. He says, I want to thank you all for playing The Boys Are Back in Town last night.
We got it pretty right, I think.
The last night.
We were fighting the last night of the tour.
The ascending harmonies last night were just as like...
We got those good.
Yeah.
He says, my partner Molly was supremely inspired by that. Yeah, we had that conversation, Ed. It was very nice to hear the story. So, cool, yeah. I mean, what else are you going to play? Hey?
You got 3 guitars. It's Freebird or Boys Are Back in Town.
JSK... Just skate says, and I apologise if I've pronounced that wrong. Is there an effect that you love to hear but hate to play?
Ooh. Flanger for me.
You hate to play flanger?
I've never got on with a flanger. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have some time tomorrow.
Okay, good. Yay.
Sort a few things out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you guys say?
Envelope filter.
Okay, you like to hear it?
I really do like to hear it.
You do like to hear it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Used tastefully, and the issue comes when I play it.
Yeah.
It's not tasty.
It's not tasty.
Yeah.
And I can never get the...
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used one.
I can never get the envelope right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Slide for me.
Oh.
I'm going to say slide as an effect. When I hear Joey and
hear
Derek and
Joey
stuff,
or-
it's like it's just achingly beautiful, and I put it on and I sound like my guitar is just going out of tune all over the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, man.
Simon Jarrett is in the chat.
Hey, Simon.
So
Did
Simon,
you get my email,
yeah,
Simon?
did you get the email, Simon? Well, we want you to come in tomorrow and film. So in case you haven't got the email.
Just in case.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, I really want to hear some of his.
Excellent.
Hearing Mick play some of that stuff yesterday, really want to check that out.
The what?
The
sorry?
Kingsley.
Oh, yeah. So, Simon, great. I've just got your email.
Is it coming in?
What a big day it's going to be tomorrow. We're going to film with Simon Jarrett and with Andy.
Hello.
Come
I think
on.
Let's do it.
Come on.
Somebody's got to do it.
There'll be minimal guitar playing for me and Dan
Yeah.
tomorrow.
No. You're just going to
be.
be here. You go.
I am Dan the Coffee Boy tomorrow. That is what I'm doing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow, Simon. That's
Amazing.
That's really great.
Wonderful.
Really, really great. Happy days. That's going to be a fun day tomorrow. One of the things I want to ask Simon tomorrow, every time we do something on preamp pedals, we get tons of questions going, oh my God, how do I know if it's a preamp pedal or an overdrive pedal? We're going to get Simon to answer that tomorrow in terms that make sense for ordinary humans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to talk about impedances.
The wrong emphasis on the syllable there.
Impedances. We're going to talk about lion levels.
Nice.
And in strumming levels.
Yep.
We had lunch at the Red Lion, didn't we?
We did.
What-
Limiting.
Let me ting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You get some of that going.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop there.
It's like the Stratocaster and the Telecaster.
JMP 220478 wants to know, Andy, he thinks you should do a UK tour extensively with
Expensively.
David Grissom and Josh Smith.
Oh man, talk about some tone with those guys.
That would work.
Okay, then I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
I'm a
Done.
big fan of both Dave and Josh.
I
Obviously.
think JMP, you've just volunteered to organise and promote that tour.
Yes, you did. Yeah, if somebody, or yeah,
that
make
would
it.
be,
I'll come over. Yeah.
it would be pretty
That
spectacular.
would be nice. Very nice. Yeah, Dave's incredible.
I must say a massive thank you to Catherine, Mick's wife, whom obviously none of this would be possible without her. But man alive, the work that goes into putting on something like this, and then of course Hayden.
Yes.
It's like the gig is actually probably the smallest part of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of other stuff
A
going
lot
on.
of other stuff to do, and it's amazing.
Simon's actual question, Simon Jarrett's actual question, which we will answer in full tomorrow when we make the video, Simon. But I think Andy could probably do a short version of it now. He wants to know what I want to know, and I think I asked you this at least 5 times, which was, are you sure there's no reverb on?
No, and it's incredible, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
how then do we create that? So when Andy plays and he uses his halo delay, you would swear blind it's reverb, but it's not reverb.
It's incredible, I know, and it's really, and again, it's the combination. We got to it because I could achieve it on like the old tape, and sometimes the memory man, and sometimes the timeline. It's really about how those echoes are dissipating and folding, I call it kind of feathering into each other, because of the 2 times kind of being opposing each other, and just that when you get the tapering just right and the EQ on those things just right.
Are they in series or parallel?
That's a really great question.
So are you splitting them and then sending them to different amplifiers, or are you running one into the other?
I think the spread is more from the modulation on the repeats.
Yeah, but are you running one delay pedal into the other delay pedal?
Back when I was doing 2 pedals, yes, exactly.
Okay,
they were
right.
It was always
So
always
so one
there's
delay's
that-
delaying the other
I see
one,
what
and
you're
then that's
saying.
right.
Yeah. And all that stuff.
Interesting.
All that stuff we always say about character delays, dulling off the repeats a bit so they're not in the way. That's all a big part of that, and quite a lot of repeats.
Yeah. Oh, it's going a bit. It's
Yeah.
going a bit because again, it has to have the time to again create that
become
air
that.
again create that. But you hear it when you hear like Eric Johnson's tones and stuff too. There's even though there may be a bit of plate reverb on that, but the echo's doing a lot of that. It's kind of it's providing that. And it's just that it's what I call the halo around the note. As the note stays pure, there's this kind of fade of, and if you got it just detuned, if the modulation is just right, so it's creating a bit of that out of tuneness around it. But again,
We will demonstrate
We
this
absolutely will.
glorious Technicolor tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
One of the most awesome things about that tone though is how it doesn't get in the way.
yep.
And you can have
it's-
so much
and
on
I
there,
get it wet, man,
and it
right,
is,
you know.
and it is your original guitar just sits so beautifully on top of it. It's
thank you.
really really great.
Thank you, man.
Right, okay, so we've got a little bit of time left before we're going to go and have
Whatever it is we do,
whatever it is we do.
it takes us all day to do it.
Indeed.
Tom King wants the notation for Puppet Show.
You can download it at andytimmons.com, I believe. Go to the store there. I did a tutorial on it. I do, again, here's self-promotion. I have a subscription guitar lesson site called Guitar Experience, no E before the X, guitarexperience.net. And I've been going through my entire catalog, essentially doing a song a month, where I'll do the playthrough online, and then I have a guy in Brazil that transcribes everything, does it in Guitar Pro. He does a standard notation, and then I sit on camera, usually from an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes, just explaining every note and going through and kind of talking you through what's going on with it, why the note choice, how the technique, whatever it might be. So that's on there in that, there you can subscribe for a year or monthly, and there's different levels of whatever. But I think the individual transcription, if you just want the notes on the paper, I think you can get it downloadable at andytimmons.com.
Awesome.
Thank you.
John Channing wants to know, Andy. John Channing wants to know, as someone who doesn't have any of your music,
Okay.
where should he start?
Well, that's a good question. I don't, they're all your babies, and you're always kind of usually most fond of your most recent. But I mean, Resolution was kind of it depends on the kind of stuff you like, because it can be a little varied. There's the heavy rock trio would be Resolution. The new Josh Smith produced, Electric Truth is kind of nice because it's got a variety of things. It's got a couple that I feel like I'm, some of my strongest stuff are the ballads for whatever reason that's tend to be. So there's a few of those on there, and there's a couple of bit of rock and roll, but it's some kind of funky and bluesy things. Not a bad place to start, maybe. I don't know.
It's spectacular.
Maybe somebody else in the chat could recommend something.
Yeah. So
I'm a little too hard to be objective.
I think Sgt. Pepper's is because we know those songs so well,
Right.
and your arrangements of them are just so great. It's a really wonderful way in. And Resolution, but I've got to say, I mean, Theme from a Perfect World, I love that album. It's amazing.
Thank you, man.
But yeah, the Electric Truth.
Yeah.
I think sonically,
I like the sound of that record.
It sounds.
Thanks to Alan Hertz, the
They
engineer.
all sound great.
They also
though. I mean,
they really do.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
I hear the, Josh. I hear Josh Smith in the room.
That's cool, man.
And it's like, come on, this is awesome.
Right on. Thank you, man.
And John, give Sgt. Pepper's a spin as well, because it's just an astonishing piece of work. And if you know that music, it will give you a really good idea of where Andy is as a player,
well,
and the approach, and then that might tow you into some of the other stuff. Give that a spin.
So Dougie, our drummer who played with you, is a massive Beatles fan. He's got a.
And I heard
Ringo.
that just playing. Anytime it came time where I need a bit of Ringo, he really shone quite nicely.
And I said, have you heard Andy's version of Sgt. Pepper's? He goes, no. And he called me. He's like, oh my God, it was
We did
great.
Strawberry Fields in the set. He did a really great job, and that's not. I don't have a lot of drummers, that really come across and really have that feel, but he did a great job.
Yeah,
Man. Really
he's
a fine
wonderful.
player, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, Steve Salazar. That's the one I was looking for. Steve Salazar. He wants to know when you run the two delays, is it the short one first or the long one first?
It's a good question. I think I was always running the short one first and the long. You know? But it's been it's just now they're just all together one, don't they?
Yeah.
Would you think it would be the other way though?
Well, no, you'd
how
still.
what would your instinct
I'd
be?
probably do the short one first, but even
That's
if
what I always
But
did,
even
yeah.
if you've got, they do end up sounding different. But if you imagine you've got the long one first and the short one,
Because then it's repeating lengthily the shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, the analog drive-through is still going to go through and hit the short one first. So you're still going to hear the repeats of the short one first before, But ultimately, it will be a different
It's all
thing.
this kind of spiraling into
yeah.
into each other. Yeah.
Matt Sweezan wants to know, what's the secret of avoiding that one bad note in a solo? For example, hitting a major where you definitely should play a minor.
Did you have something to?
Yeah.
You said you had one of those. I did. Yeah.
I did had at least two major minor hilarity instances.
Yeah. I could name two very famous examples of recorded. Examples of that seem to be on purpose. Because if the Shocking Blue, that's my favorite riff. I always go to. Well, I'm I just need a riff to play. The solo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, right.
Right, or Gary Richrev, Riding the Storm Out. Just big old C sharps over that. I don't think anybody minded.
No.
Did anybody pick?
Yeah.
I
have to say, as much as I love John Mayer to the bottom of my heart, it really annoys me when he's playing a major song and he plays minor pentatonic over it.
Oh boy!
It's like no, not now.
Unless you get a bit of that inflection.
Yes.
You can't really just lay that C on the end on A major.
The inflection.
If you just get a little bit of that.
Yeah, a little bit up.
I call it
movement up there.
putting the crack.
Uncle Eric
C crack.
Uncle Eric taught us about the inflection, didn't he? Uncle Eric taught us how to
Yes,
mix
he did.
around
He did.
those major and minor pentatonics and it'd be right. But it's like that.
Are you going to have an intervention with John? What are you going to do?
Really, definitely on purpose.
Smith's going to have a chat.
He's going to have the chat. I think he just did.
And I think he'll say,
John?
he'll say, I'm John Mayer.
I don't know if I've heard an example of that, so you'll have to turn me on.
Please, goodbye.
Okay. It's a thing, man. This is a
I'll
thing.
play it to you later.
All right,
And
thank
you'll go, no, it's perfectly right, but it just sounds
Maybe
wrong to me.
maybe not.
It sounds wrong to me. No, great question, Susan. What's the answer? I think the answer is...
Just call it a 7#9. Be done with it.
The answer is
nice.
fretboard familiarity is what the answer is. I'm doing this at the moment. I'm having some guitar lessons, and my guitar teacher, Chris, is taking me back to the basics. He's making me learn the notes of the fretboard. And after I learn the notes of the fretboard, because surprisingly enough, I don't know them, he's then going to make me learn intervals. And what will happen is you'll start to see, and it starts to become harder to make those kind of mistakes, because harmonically you will begin to understand that you shouldn't be doing that. So it's about familiarity, I think. Would you, as somebody who knows this far better than I do, would you have anything to add to that, Andy?
No, I mean, if that's the question, I wasn't sure if he was like, how do you recover, or just to avoid it?
Well, okay, so I've gone... Would you agree with the avoid question?
Yeah, I mean, with the more experience and the more familiarity you have with just the nuts and bolts of harmony and knowing, but it's also kind of intention of sound, you know,
Yeah.
really being able to hear before you play what you're about, you know, what you're
good.
going to play.
Yeah.
You know, knowing if that's an A major 7 chord, I'm going to land on a C. Instinctually, I'm going to avoid that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Then the mistakes are made clearly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they do become more avoidable with some of the things that you're working on, which is great. But the hearing and that intervallic relationship knowledge will help you a lot.
That's kind of where I'm trying to get to, where you exactly that. You, instead of, because it would do my head in to try and think of it as a full chord, I'm thinking it more as a relationship of two notes, because you're coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
So the relationship between this one and that one has a relationship.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
We were talking about that in the intent of melody.
Yeah.
You know, wherever I am, I'm hoping that it means something in relation to what I just played and what I'm gonna play. You know, I want there to be some kind of thread of connectivity.
So to the second question then, how do you fix it?
Well, what we just talked about. I mean, that's
No,
all.
I mean, if you've done it.
Oh, I mean, there's always
don't.
tension.
Do it again.
No, you do it again. But the most important, embrace it.
Yeah.
The mistakes you make musically are the only things you can truly call your own. Just embrace it, because embracing it will help you move past it.
Yeah.
Because my sister was getting married, right? And she asked me to, and she had a little band at her wedding, and she asked me to sit in. Oh. And I thought, yeah, and I brought my guitar down and we rehearsed the thing, and the guy, the keyboard player, says, "Oh, Dan, do a solo."
Yeah.
You know, while they're walking, over this music. I went, yeah, no problem. And it was like it's this beautiful melodic, really lovely thing. And it was in C, and I plus out the solo on C sharp, and it was this note that reacted perfectly with a standing wave in the building, and it was just went, "Wah!" And it was the biggest clangor I've ever had in my life, right?
Wow.
And my uncle, who I only talked to him a handful of times, like in my life, and he was like, "You dropped a real clangor there, sunshine," you know. And I'm like,
yeah.
I just got to embrace it and move on, you know. And,
Embrace it and move on.
yeah.
I had a couple moments like that last night where it was just something that just didn't connect, I just looked at the band and smiled, and you just got to move on. You know, you don't want it to.
Yeah.
I do finally have something in common with Uncle Larry, though, apparently, with Tom. David Pekarski and Sammy Watt are reminding us that is his biggest pet peeve, playing minor pentatonic over major changes.
All right, there you go.
Good. That's one thing I have in common with him then.
Yeah.
Kita Mura is my little sister, not my big sister. Yeah, my little sister Deb.
Okay.
So we're gonna do one more question, and then we're gonna say cheerio. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It's been unreal.
It does go quick, doesn't it?
It does. Let's see. Apparently, Steve Salazar says Steve Lukather used to say, when you make a mistake, hit it again with more emphasis to make him believe you meant it.
Yeah. I thought that was Carlton, but yeah.
Right, okay.
As it goes.
Sammy Watt says we were talking about fretboard knowledge. He's talking about the cage system. I'm a fan of all those things, but all they really are is knowing the fretboard, aren't they?
Yeah, it's all versions of getting to the same amount of familiarity.
Yeah, versions of the
That's
same
what the
thing.
modes did for me. I'm not a big scalar modal player, but it taught me the fretboard.
Yeah, right.
By just knowing, okay, if I'm in F major, I can immediately see.
Yeah.
So if I'm in, D minor, the sat,
So-
I'll have. They're kind of getting rid of the blind spots.
Sure.
So that was really valuable.
Yeah. As BV says, if you do hit it, you're only one note away from the good note.
Resolve, man, or
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
way to. That would be a good exercise, is to find out. Okay, we know this is a bad note. What are you gonna do? How do you make that work? And I bet that there's ways of doing it.
Somebody wants to hear the Willie Nelson joke, which we won't tell on air again. I think we've told it once before.
I don't know this was.
You don't know the Willie Nelson joke?
No.
Okay.
Maybe a dinner.
It's a family show, so we're not
Okay,
gonna tell
fair
it.
enough, fair enough.
So let's go with Moon has got the best question to end.
Okay.
He says, actually, Rory Yarama says, Satch says it only takes 2 weeks to learn the fretboard. Yeah.
If you're Satch,
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. I'm
Or
sure it
Steve
does.
Jones.
But-
Took him 5 days, but he had help.
Yeah. I reckon, what's 2 weeks? How many hours is that? That's like 14 times 24. That's a lot of hours.
It is.
I think if you did that many
Well, learning
hours...
and retention is the problem, isn't it? And then application. 2 weeks sounds ambitious to me.
Yeah. 2 weeks over 2 years I could probably do. Anyway, Moon says, to finish us off today, says, how do I change the radio station on my fuzz face?
That's a good one.
Very good.
Nice.
Very good. I like it.
Tilt it on axis.
Brilliant.
Oh, yes, thank you.
What?
Axis?
The axis, yeah.
Yeah, tilted on axis. Put your wah pedal into it and then use your wah pedal to
Axis,
yeah.
bold as
Is
fuzz.
bold as
axis bold as fuzz. Very good.
Thank you for being with us, Andy. Thanks so much. For
Yeah,
Can I
man.
move in? Because
You've got your room at our place.
I do have. I've been in. There's been joint custody. Sometimes I'm staying at Dan's. Sometimes I stay at Mick's, and I feel like I'm in between sometimes. Love both of you guys.
Oh,
Love both
man.
homes are awesome. Each have
We're,
a
we're
sweet
fight-
dog.
We're fighting for custody.
When
There's
currently.
Ziggy and there's Rosie, but
When we-
they have Arthur though. That's my
When we're
cat.
together, we just want you to be happy. But outside of this room,
You don't know the conversations
There's
that we have.
lawyers.
There's a lot of stuff going on that we don't. You don't have to be a part of. You
don't
you
have
just
to
have to know
choose.
that we love you.
Okay.
has he
And-
asked you if he can vacuum your house yet?
They have a Dyson. I don't know what you have for vacuum, but I'm a vacuum fan, folks.
Well,
Yeah,
we-
I did but I had socks. We were wearing socks upstairs, and I was leaving a bit of black lint. I said, I can't leave that.
I'd just like to underline that I had vacuumed significantly before he arrived.
Oh,
It
look,
wasn't-
your place is immaculate.
It's
But
not,
you know,
anyway.
I love a good Dyson. Here I go. If you haven't tried the Dyson, the V15 with the laser on it, I swear to you, it will. Especially if you have hardwood floors and cats, you'll not believe what you're missing without that LED laser on there.
Do you ever go for the robotic, the auto?
No, those
ones?
things. No. I enjoy the process. Those things, you're gonna suck up a cat at some point. It's not gonna be good. Or they ride on top. No, I don't trust any robotic anything.
Okay.
But man, okay. Anyway, V15, check it out.
On that note,
Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, BV. Thanks everyone. Have a great day, great week. Strat show coming up on Friday. It's going to be amazing.
Strat
But
show.
filming tomorrow with Andy and
Yeah.
Simon. Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Thanks everyone.
au revoir.
See you later.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.